You know, some news stories are just so great that they feel too good to be true. Here's the story. A state government saw a problem, families getting absolutely crushed by the cost of living, and they stepped in and solved it. This new policy that I'm about to talk about saves families thousands of dollars and boosts the economy. That's it. End of story, right? Everyone wins. Well, apparently in MAGA land, promising kids a healthy and educated childhood is a declaration of war. Starting this fall in New Mexico, a new state program is set to put $12,000 a year back into the pockets of working families. It's a program to help them afford childcare. I'm going to explain why conservatives are having a meltdown over this, but first, let's break down what's going on with this policy. This is really important. Starting on November 1 of this year, New Mexico is becoming the very first state in America to offer no cost childcare for every single family, regardless of income. This isn't some pilot program. It's not a voucher system with a lot of strings attached or anything like that. It's the real deal. Families just have to apply and then choose from a wide network of providers. In doing my research for this, I found that New Mexico has been building to this for quite some time. Initially, they expanded childcare assistance to cover families who earned up to 400% of the federal poverty line. And just doing that had a massive impact. One resident told The Guardian that this support allowed her to finish college and get into nursing school while still being able to afford groceries. That article also said that this program was so successful at lifting people out of poverty that the state just decided to go all in. This new program will get rid of all income caps and copays, and the average New Mexico family will save about $12,000 per year per child. Just think about that for a second. Damn, $12,000. For most families, that's not just pocket change, that's life altering. That's the difference between making rent or not. That's the difference between affording groceries or affording your prescriptions or not. That's freedom to finally start saving for a house. The way that this program was created was with a lot of detail and intention behind it. There's different kinds of childcare options available, from traditional daycare centers, after school programs, smaller home-based providers, even faith-based providers if that's what you want. This policy is pro-family, pro-economy. Who on earth could be mad at this, right? Oh, you already know. It's the usual professional outrage artists on the right, and they're having an absolute fit. I want to unpack some of their counter arguments against this bill, against this program. One word that they're throwing around is dependency. The chairwoman of the Republican Party of New Mexico claimed this program pushes New Mexico into government dependency. This is a classic conservative talking point, basically saying that government programs that help people is a moral failure. They say it's a handout, not a hand up, but that's incredibly stupid. Does a public library create book dependency? Do public roads that we all drive on create asphalt dependency? No. These are public investments that make society better and more prosperous for all of us. Childcare is no different. This is essential. This isn't creating dependency, it's fostering independence. Let me explain. It gives families the stability to build careers, improve their lives, save for a home, the very thing that conservatives claim to champion. Here's another talking point that I'm hearing from Republicans about this program. They're saying it's a handout for the rich. And isn't that rich coming from them? Republican State Representative Rebecca Doe, APAC, and the Libertarian Rio Grande Foundation are wringing their hands, worried that this program is a handout for wealthy families. The governor said she's not worried about the 1% engaging in our free childcare system because the program is structured for everyone to use. Another counter argument, and this point unfortunately isn't new. This one has a long, sad history. Conservatives are saying that this program is anti-family. Let me explain. So back in 1971, Congress passed the Comprehensive Child Development Act, which would have created a national network of federally funded daycare centers. That sounds amazing. But what happened? President Richard Nixon vetoed it. In a speech, Nixon condemned the bill, using language that is eerily similar to today's talking points. He called it family weakening. He attacked what he called communal approaches to child rearing. And this was the moment that the US took a hard turn away from every other developed nation on earth. All the other developed nations worldwide have a robust, publicly supported, and publicly funded childcare system. And here's some statistics for you guys. When New Mexico previously expanded childcare, like I said initially, the poverty rate was slashed from 27% to 16%. That's huge. The studies that they've conducted before rolling out this program have found that every single dollar invested in this program delivers a 13% return on investment every year because there's better health outcomes, higher employment rates, more productive economy, etc. So this program isn't a cost, right? Conservatives like to say, how do you pay for this? How we can't afford this. But this is a return on investment, a massive one. When families have more breathing room financially, more mothers can join the workforce, and $12,000 per year per child in savings, you can spend that on groceries, on car repairs, on going out to eat, on whatever you want. It's a direct stimulus on the economy. When you strip away all of those bad faith arguments, you see the conservative outrage over this for what it is, a circus. It's a joke. Because on one side, you have a vision for America that's a place where we invest in each other. It's a belief that every child should have a shot at success. Doesn't matter how their parents' tax bracket looked. It's an understanding that when we help families afford childcare, we're not just helping one single family, we're building a stronger workforce, more dynamic of an economy, a more healthy economy, a more educated population. While on the other hand, the other side of the argument is an ideology that boils down to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. They think that any program that helps the working people leads to a dependency. These people call themselves the party of family values, yet they oppose every single policy that would actually value families. Affordable childcare, paid family leave, child tax credit, Medicare for all, Green New Deal. This fake outrage, I call it fake. Let's just say this outrage is not about money. They say we can't afford this, but they have zero problem spending trillions of dollars on tax cuts for billionaires and corporations, increasing the budget for the Department of War every year. Almost $1 trillion is the defense spending. But somehow free crayons are where we draw the line. Make that make sense. Healthy and educated kids are where we draw the line in America. Miss me with that bullshit argument. You know, some Republican somewhere is already tweeting about this. Free childcare is socialism. MAGA man, buddy, if you've ever asked someone to watch your kid because you picked up a shift at work, then congratulations, you've participated in communism. This is important. A common misconception and talking point on the right when they're debating against single payer systems, single payer healthcare, single payer childcare, etc. They say that the quality is a concern, right? For single payer healthcare, they'll say, "Oh, but you have to wait in line for months to get a procedure that you need." They'll say, "Yeah, we have expensive healthcare, but it's the highest quality in the world." This program in New Mexico for universal childcare addresses all of that. Here's how they're addressing some of the quality concerns. They're building more childcare centers, more licensed homes, raising worker pay. So a baseline for childcare workers is now $18 per hour minimum. But even when you convince a conservative that the quality is addressed in this program, it'll still come back to this program's too expensive. Won't it strain the budget? How this program is being funded? This program is being funded through oil and gas surplus. This is not even increasing the taxes on the families at all. But even if they did, even if taxes were being increased, when you compare to how much we're already spending on things like other welfare programs, tax breaks for rich corporations, the military, I would say this is a better investment. And like I said, it's funny how conservatives can find billions of dollars to bomb children. Conservatives like Trump have plenty of money to build ballrooms and have expensive military parades. Here's my main takeaway from this. If we want a society that truly values people, especially the most vulnerable, right? Families. This kind of policy is exactly what we need nationwide. New Mexico, of all states, is putting us to shame, proving to all of us that when the government actually wants to help people, it can. Thanks for watching. Um, Hit the like button if you like this video. Leave a comment if you think this is a good idea. And if you're from a different state, comment where you're from. I want to hear what a universal childcare program like this would do for the people in your state.